All right, what's up, everybody? Happy Friday. We are back for another edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. I'm Drew Dinkmeyer alongside Mike Gallagher. And Mike, this is the NBA. This is the NBA Injury Report we've been waiting for. Because good Lord, do we have some big names on it today. It's not so much that it's a deep injury report with tons of different scenarios to monitor, but the ones that we are monitoring are enormous today. So let's where should we start?
I guess we should start with your boo, my boo. I'm his side chick, but yeah, Joker, right? Didn't practice yesterday.
Yeah.
We saw that scary knee with Rudy Gobert, and he could have returned. He told Mike Malone his knee was weak. Malone's like, nope, not playing. After that comment, no real sounds of anything scary or damage, but he could have bone bruise or anything like that. Going against KP, we just found that's out. So yeah, I mean that's obviously massive hole if he sits. That'll be a big one. Late start as well. Where are we going with this one as far as if thens and stuff?
Yeah, I mean it's really tricky. They do have some front court depth. JaMychal Green is like a very viable kind of like backup plug and play type option. But man, the usage, like where does it go in these situations in the past? And obviously they have Jeff Green too. They have both Green boys. They don't have a lot of guys without Jamal Murray that can really absorb a ton of usage. It would be the Will Barton and Michael Porter Jr. show. And I know Mike Malone has talked very aggressively about needing to get Michael Porter Jr. going. So I think this is going to be a really good opportunity for those guys. We have Jokic projected in right now. I think he's going to sit.
Okay.
Denver is historically like pretty conservative with guys, and they came into this season talking about wanting to find spots to like rest Jokic anyway, and Jokic basically was like, I don't want to rest. So this kind of feels like a spot where like they can just kind of take it easier on him and like have a good reason to not play him and like not upset him. So I kind of think he's not going to play. Do you have a lean on this one?
I'm leaning in just because it's Jokic. I mean, the guy's so durable, but yeah, I don't feel like I generally we try to go unless I feel like good about it. Like Josh Hart, I think he's not playing, so we usually try to lean down on those. I just don't really see enough to make me think that he's going to sit. Like I get it, all the things you said are good, but I mean, it just depends. Like the knee bone bruises are wild. Like some dudes literally are totally fine. Other times, like Derek Favors was listed with a bone bruise at his knee like 3 years ago for literally a month. So he was doubtful for like a month. It was crazy in like December or whatever. So, it depends, but
yeah. And this is one that we'll talk about all the different DFS iterations on the premium show later, but this is one that from a game theory perspective, if there is no clarity before lock, you are really going to be in a weird spot where if you can save enough value for late, you could really put yourself in the best position if Jokic is ruled out. You could also get stuck and kind of holding the bag on like trying to fill out a bunch of cheap late game guys. You have a few games to choose from because it's a 10 o'clock Eastern time game. So you've got the Clippers in Portland. At that same time, you've got Cleveland and LA after that, but not a lot. And this is the tricky thing about this slate, right? It's not only Nikola Jokic at 10 o'clock Eastern that we have to be concerned about. It's also LeBron James at 10:30. He's listed on the injury report as questionable. Again, tonight, he's missed the last two games. Rajon Rondo is also listed as questionable on the injury report. Anthony Davis listed as probable. Wayne Ellington listed as questionable. What's your lean on LeBron? Because I think we both kind of thought, he'd be back by now, but I don't know, maybe Father Time is catching up.
Yeah, so he was called probable for the front of the back-to-back, got downgraded to questionable, and then kind of got ruled out early for the second game. Went through his pregame routine. It was the same ankle as last year, different area to the ankle, and again, it was kind of like a stepping on from Desmond Boone, the bad guy. But yeah, I think he's in. After that loss that they suffered, biggest loss in Lakers history, 230-0 when they had a 25-point lead in franchise history until they blew against OKC in a 26-pointer. gets his former team. I think he has to play. I don't think it's that serious, but could be wrong. Late start, but again, not enough information for me to think he's going to sit this one out.
Yeah. So this is another situation now. From the DFS side of things, we had 2 games without LeBron, so you do have a little bit of a sample, but you also have a little bit of price movement on some of these cheaper guys. So it's a spot where I think all the value you'd be more excited to play would be in Denver if Jokic sits than in LA if LeBron sits. But it would certainly still open up quite a bit of value. Gary's in the chat. He mentioned that Patrick Williams was just ruled out for the season with a dislocated wrist. Super disappointing as a Bulls fan, as a basketball fan, just to lose the young player that you're hoping to see growth and ascension from. And that's a very difficult loss for the Bulls to replace. They're not playing tonight. So it's not a situation.
Although the best lineup in the NBA net rating wise is Lonzo, Caruso, DeRozan, Levine, and Vooch. So Caruso, if you don't have him, pick him up.
Caruso will fill a lot of minutes. We'll get more into Troy Brown and Javonte Green. You might get opportunities for Derrick Jones Jr. Down the road, just because there's a lot of playing time to fill now. But that sucks.
That sucks.
All right, moving through the other injury information for tonight. Jokic and LeBron are the big 2. What else are we waiting on?
Another bone bruise to a knee from another. This is my boo. You're his side chick. That's Bam Adebayo. He's downgraded to questionable here with a bone bruise to his knee. We know Bam. Bam is Eastern Conference Jokic, right? This dude barely misses games. Super durable. Miami's playing so well. They're rebounding the ball better than any unit in the NBA. They're starters. They're playing really good interior defense against a Hornets team that's going to want to run like crazy on them. And then also, Spoelstra really chalked up Dwayne Dedmon, so Dedmon would certainly be a kind of a plug-and-play start for him. Maybe your 7 would be behind him. Maybe some Markieff Morris at the 5. Could get away with it against the smaller stuff that the Hornets might run. We saw some Miles Bridges at the 5 in the last game. But yeah, Bam, also career high usage rate. That would open up some more stuff for Jimmy, Lowry, and I think it'd be a pretty good matchup for them too. So that one's a little bit early. It's 30 minutes after lock. Probably will get that one. Just to preface this, Miami has the intention to play thing, which means they're playing. So that's code for Miami. Code means they're playing. So heads up if we get that news.
Yeah, and obviously, we've seen Dedmon be a really good producer in limited minutes with the Heat, but he's also been a really good producer kind of whenever he's gotten an opportunity in the NBA. He's one of these guys that I think is one of the more underrated bigs to float around the league as a backup, because he always comes in and plays effectively and can do a lot of little things well. So he would probably become a very, very strong value if Bam was unable to go. I don't know how many minutes they I think Miami would play really small too. I think Charlotte is going to force Miami to play small, so I think you'd see a lot of PJ Tucker at the 5 with Hero, Lowry, Butler. I think in Duncan, I think they'd play those types of lineups. So if Bam was out, I think you'd have value in a couple different ways for Miami tonight against a Charlotte team that plays really, really fast. And I think it's just a great team to attack in DFS right now.
Yeah, Charlotte, I think they're first in the NBA in time of possession off makes. So yeah, it should be. And when you play against good defenses, you want to play fast on them. So they should really be running it up. Another big one, which we talked about last time, is Karis LeVert. Couple that with no Malcolm Brogdon has a hamstring strain. So things are really changing here. We know TJ McConnell should be looking at huge minutes. Brad Wanamaker behind him. He should get a ton. Carlisle said he's kind of wants to use him in different roles, basically as a small man 4 times, bring him as a ball handler, as a 1. So he's interesting. Had that 3-on-3 contact, a few days ago. So he could be ready here. He just needs the medical staff clearance. Revenge game. It definitely seems like this is a circle spot, right? For a game he should return in here. So I think he's in after saying he was out last time. but probably a little bit of a cap on him. I mean, make him off the bench too.
Yeah. The other thing that I'd note is just like Brooklyn has not played well to start the season, so it's hard to trust them being able to, put a team away early. But it is a spot where this Indy team is just really, really, really thin. And I think the spread's at like 8.5, something like that. But we could see on the road here, you could see a lot of the Indiana guys sort of disappoint because the game gets blown out and then they don't all play as much as you're expecting them to. So that's one of my concerns on the Indy side of things tonight. Like, who do you think, what do you think if they got blown out? Like, what do you think is the closing lineup there? I mean, they're so thin, but
yeah, I mean, it would be Wanamaker, right? I think O'Shea Brissett would be in there. They lost Isaiah Jackson, so Goga would be in there.
They lost Isaiah Jackson. They lost Keelan Martin. They don't have Keelan Martin. They don't have TJ
they don't
Warren.
have Keelan Martin. Yeah.
So I mean,
Goga for sure, Brissett for sure. Brissett would probably be in. Well, yeah, he should still be in the rotation, especially with Brogdon out. So
Goga, Brissett,
you're going to play that aggressively.
Probably Torrey Craig.
Yeah. The guy you want to play would be Brissett, I think. I think he's the guy who can kind of have it both ways where he gets rotation.
Yeah, I think this
plus, Miles Turner foul trouble could open him up that way as well. So
I think the slate's going to be big enough with value that you're not going to need there. But I just think it could be a messy night for Indiana. If LeVert sits, it's going to be cleaner because they're just not going to have enough bodies. But it's a tough start to the season for Indiana for sure.
And it's funny, just a quick note from matchups I wanted to share. Rick Carlisle was asked, like, why are forwards killing him? Because, like, OG went off against them. Like, all these forwards are killing in Indiana. They play Kevin Durant. So, like, that's probably not good with James Harden. And not an injury quote, but I kind of want to just mention it. It's real interesting. James Harden said he's not going to be the 30-point scorer for a little bit, which kind of ties into what Nash has been saying. So, Kevin Durant, my God, he might just go crazy tonight against this really bad Indiana defense. That covers the big ones.
What are the keys? We've got Norm Powell questionable again. We've got Nick Claxton questionable again. We've got Terry Rozier questionable again. How are you feeling on Rozier?
Yes.
Do you think we get Rozier back tonight?
I'd say of those names you mentioned, besides Clax, I can't read illnesses. But I would think, and actually Josh Hart also, I feel like both those guys, I feel Rozier is most likely to play. Borrego said in the last game, or the 25th, that he was getting close. So, he had a chance to play. He got they ruled him out early, but it sounds like he was close to be out there. Not the same ankle he suffered from back in the preseason. So we haven't projected in. I think he's going to be out there. Maybe a sneaky matchup. Probably see a lot of Duncan Robinson. So someone to consider there. Norm Powell, very little to go on. Definitely looked bad. He got ruled out pretty early last time. You would think that he misses at least one more. So I don't think he plays. Josh Hart didn't go through full practice after he said he kind of wanted to go through full practice before he played. So Garrett Temple also doubtful. So that's something we also have to figure in. So I think Herbert Jones probably starts, probably guards Harrison Barnes, which could put Fox in a really good spot against Devontae Graham and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. We'll talk more about that later for sure.
Yeah, we like Harry B tonight. We'll be rooting him on. One of the props that we took for those of you who are not signed up to our props package. But yeah, I think Hart is. It seems like it's going to take some time with him. In terms of other guys on the injury report, we get PJ Washington is doubtful, so we're going to still have that. The Charlotte smaller ball lineups are going to be tougher to get to because they use a lot of PJ Washington in those. So you've got Plumlee still able to play a lot of minutes. Potentially it'll be interesting to see with the Bam stuff, what happens to Charlotte's rotation there.
I just quickly, Miami has 90 starters. If Bam plays, they have a 91 defensive rebounding percentage. Like, small sample, that's just a stupid number, man. They're rebounding so well.
They're a very, very, very good defensive team when they have all their guys. Exceptional defensive team. It doesn't look like too much else on the injury report. We already got Kristaps ruled out, which we saw, what that was like last night. Hopefully, for those out there playing Luka in DFS, hopefully he shows up a little bit stronger than he did last night. Really frustrating and disappointing performance from him.
What the hell? What he had? I think he had 20 upper 20s drives and only like 8 shots off drives. I think he's in a pretty good spot. Again, we'll talk about this more later, but the Nuggets are allowing the second most PNR points to ball handlers so far this year, and Nick Luka's first in that category per volume. So, back-to-back altitude. But Luka, man, leadership council. It was crazy. He was looking to pass. So, like, he had, like, he's in the floater range. He had, like, 3 feet in front of him, whatever. He just wouldn't shoot it. You're like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Could you tell I had the Luka over prop yesterday?
I can tell.
Yeah, right.
All right. So I think we've covered all the injury report stuff today. Obviously, Jokic and LeBron are just slate changing type stuff, and Bam is too, honestly. So we've got 3 really big ones, 1 early, 2 late. If you want to know how we're planning on handling that from a DFS perspective, you got to make sure to have your in-season DFS package over at Established Run. We'll be on the live show again today, myself and Mike at 5:00 Eastern, talking about how we set up to take advantage of late swap, how we set up with, preparing ourselves for this injury information and whatnot, from a very specific DFS perspective. And then also, obviously, if you want to bet props and get along on the ride for props, we'll probably be firing some of those that we'll have ready to go based on some of this injury information that comes out as well. You can get any of those packages by the subscribe button over on establishedrun.com. Speaking of the subscribe button, we would love it if you subscribe to our YouTube page here. You can see all these ridiculous thumbnails that they've put together of myself. You can.
I will get mine soon. I'm bad.
You can continue to support our free content here on the YouTube channel, and we'll continue to pump it out for you guys and hopefully put you guys in the best position to do well in your DFS lineups. But that's it from us for me and Mike. We hope you guys have a great weekend and good luck in all your games.